Alright guys, welcome to Professor's Chamber, and today we are going to be talking about the laws of indices. So basically, there are two things you just need to consider when it comes to indices. You need to consider two things. Number one, you need to consider the base of a particular whatever you are given. Then you consider the power also. So A is the base and M is the power. Let me write again. For example, if you have x raised to the power of b, for example, x is the base and b is the power. You understand? The power is always on top of the base. You understand? So let's look at quickly. We have 7 laws that we need to look at. So number one is called the product law. So if you have a raised to the power of m multiplied by a raised to the power of n. So now what you do is that in order for you to solve this thing, it's the law of indices says that when you have something like this, since these two things you are given is having the same base, you understand? So since it's having the same base, then you just pick one out of the base, then you add the power together. So you're going to have a raised to the power of m plus n. Now, no matter what it is, even though it is a raised to the power m multiplied by a raised to the power of n multiplied by a raised to the power of till infinity, whatever you have. So what you just do is you pick one out of the base. You pick one out of the base, then you add all the power together. So far, having the same base, and this one can still be, when you are getting something like this, you can still express it as a raised to the power of m multiplied by a raised to the power of n. It's as simple. So then the second law we need to consider is the division law. That is a raised to the power of m divided by a raised to the power of n. So in order for you to solve this is the same as a raised to the power of m minus n. So which also implies that a raised to the power of m divided by a raised to the power of n, which is still the same thing as a raised to the power of m over a raised to the power of n. It's the same thing. Then the third law is the zero law. So if you have a raised to the power of 0, now a raised to the power of 0 is 1, which means that anything you are given, anything that is carrying 0 as the power is 1. For example, even though it is 1000 or 10,000 raised to the power of 0, then your answer is still 1. Whatever you have is 1. Now, then the fourth law is if what you are given is having the same power but different base. So you simply express it as a multiplied by b then into m. You see it? That is, they are having different base but they are having the same power. And the same thing applicable when it comes to the division. You are given a raised to the power of m divided by b raised to the power of m. It's still the same thing as a divided by b raised to the power of m, or you can also express it as this a over b, then everything is raised to the power of m. It's as simple as that. Then the fifth law, that's if you have a raised to the power of m, then it's still the same thing as this negative on the power of a is expressed as 1 over then a raised to the power of m. Now that's for the fifth one. Then for the sixth one, if you have a raised to the power of m over n, it's the same thing as this n will serve as a root, then a will be carrying m. Then lastly, for the seventh one, we have a raised to the power of negative m over n. Now first, don't forget that this negative means 1 over, then you now come back to 1 over m raised to the power of n. Don't forget this law. Then which will now give you, then you are going to have something like 1 over the square root of n a raised to the power of m. So basically, these are the 7 laws of indices. So, and in the next video we are going to be doing some work example. Thank you very much for listening, and there is a link below. There's a Telegram channel link below, and there's also a WhatsApp link below. In case you have any problem or you have any academic challenge, do well to chat me up on the WhatsApp link and also on the YouTube, on the Telegram channel. Thank you very much.